This shit more than a game.
Perfect.
What a start to free agency it has been. And man, the questions that we have to answer and the topics that we have to discuss are endless. Are the Saints now the favorite in the NFC South? Are the Saints going to say goodbye to four stalwarts of the New Orleans Saints organization? And there actually is one NFC South team that I might surprise you on, who I think is probably our biggest contender in our quest to finally reclaim our throne on top of the NFC South in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the John Bones Show, free agency fallout. But it's shit more than a game.
From the stands, I'm invested. Every loss served like a lesson, we tested. Front porch talk turn to Sunday confessions. From dome to the block, it's all one connection. From Eric to Drew, Alvin to Cam, talk down on my squad. Boy, I be damned. I rap for the ones that never got fame, still yelling loud. This shit more than a game. Cause y'all know why? This shit more than a game. It ain't no lie. This shit more than a game. You know that's right. This shit more than a game. And y'all know why? This shit more than a game. Now I got Lil Jon sitting on my knee, teaching them young what it mean to believe. This bigger than scores, it's what we became. He gon' know off top, this shit more than a game. Clarissa in the back giving me all types of stress, but deep down she know the husband the best. She knows he's crazy, she know he's mean, but she know the kid 100% New Orleans. And y'all know why, this shit more than a game. It ain't no lie, this shit more than a game. You know that's right, this shit more than a game. And y'all know why, this shit more than a game. Yeah. When you see Jono scream, this shit more than a game. And when you see a Falcons fan, just call out for Jonathan. And yeah, this shit more than a game. New Orleans know this shit more than a game. Louisiana know this shit more than a game. Texas know this shit more than a game. Whole world know this shit more than a game. Y'all know why?
This shit more than a game. Oh, how sweet it is to be back after our 1 month hiatus. And man, do our New Orleans Saints look a lot differently today than they did on the last episode of the John Bones Show that I did. This has been one of the most active free agency periods in a long time in New Orleans, but also in the NFL. I'm sure you guys have seen like news constantly breaking hell. The big news came out about 30 minutes ago, probably one of the craziest free agency stories of all time. Max Crosby, the big free agent acquisition for the Baltimore Ravens, they traded 2 first-round draft picks for. And about an hour and a half ago, they announced that they were backing out of the trade. So now Max Crosby is a Las Vegas Raider still, even though the Raiders have already spent a ton of money thinking that Max Crosby contract was no longer going to be their issue. It has been just an absolute crazy free agency. And not only are we going to talk about New Orleans Saints, that's why it is very helpful if you are a New Orleans Saints fan watching this show, but we're going to talk about some of the more major moves in NFL free agency so far, because the NFL, as usual, has been shaken upside down in just 2 short days. But we're going to start off, of course, with the team that I'm sure a lot of my audience cares most about, and that is the New Orleans Saints. Oh, but before I do that, geez, I'm losing sight of how the show usually goes. I know y'all, it's been a while. Geez, it's been a month. I had Mardi Gras. All right, I had, Lil Jon's going through sleep regression, all that crazy stuff. So do me a favor and leave a dish shit more than the game in the chat right now, so we can match the energy and the vibes that our New Orleans Saints have been bringing so far this 2026 offseason. Because Lord have mercy, has it been a great start to free agency. And I want to say, by the way, shout out to everybody who's watching the show live right now. Usually we try to be consistent and do the show around 7:15, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, just to keep a uniform schedule. But my son, the great Lil Jon Jr., is going through some serious sleep regression right now. So I say, well, it's off season now. I'll help out. I guess I can help out every now and then. The wifey and put him to bed before I come on live and doing a show. So I appreciate everybody who's still joining the show live right now. We're a little bit later than usual. I mean, we're not that late, right? The night just gets started at 8 o'clock. Hell, the sun just went down. Daylight savings came to an end. I want to appreciate everybody who is watching live right now as we kind of go later than what we usually do on a Tuesday. But it also made me think, man, shout out to Lil Jono, because throughout the whole season, he was doing pretty consistent with his sleep schedule. Then, like, once the season ended, he kind of went crazy with his sleep being thrown off again. I said, you know what? In a weird way, even though, I'm exhausted at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., when he wakes up at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., y'all see my eyes? I said, in a weird way, though, this is why he is the first ever This Shit More Than the Game certified baby, because he waited till after the season was over. He waited till after the season was over to go through some severe sleep regression. That's some This Shit More Than the Game certified energy, and that's why he was the first ever born human being that was This Shit More Than the Game certified. So shout out to Lil Jono. Shout out to everybody watching live right now, late night on the Jono Bones Show. And of course, shout out to the king of the super chats, Bruce Saint, for leaving a $10 super chat. And he says this shuck is more than the game. And I want y'all to know something, by the way, y'all. A new thing that we're trying to implement on this show. The scoreboard is usually inconsistent, but if y'all see the back of me, just keep watching. If you leave a $5 or higher super chat, you can make This Shit More Than a Scoreboard. So Bruce Saint has already made the scoreboard. Y'all give it about 2 minutes. Y'all gonna see Bruce Saint's name front and center, along with everybody else who left the super chat on my last show a month ago. So before we get into business, let me give a This Shit More Than a thanks to the following people: Bruce Saint, Sandra, Sonia, the fish reminds me of her, and the Know the Child podcast. Please know that every super chat we get, we invest right back into the show. So shout out to everybody who's been helping fund this show, and shout out to everybody who is This Shit More Than the Game. So you see it right there. Look at that. Look at that, Bruce Saint. Look at that. Your name, front and center on the This Shit More Than the Game scoreboard. Sandra, Sonia, the fish reminds me of her. What a name that is. And the Know the Child podcast. I saw you earlier in the chat. If y'all want to see y'all name on this Shit More Than the Scoreboard, all you got to do is do what Bruce Saint just did and leave a $5 or higher super chat, and you too can make the next edition of the This Shit More Than the Scoreboard. You got to love it. You absolutely got to love it. What other show can you guys get your own damn name on the scoreboard? Now, let's talk about what you all are really here for. The free agency fallout. And the New Orleans Saints, man, wow, this has been the most active we've been in free agency in a long time. So damn, did it feel good. Damn, did it feel good. The New Orleans Saints in 2026 look a lot different already than the New Orleans Saints in 2025. Let's go over some of the new faces on our New Orleans Saints. Starting off with the big splash move, and that is running back Travis Etienne is now a New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints signed Travis Etienne to a 4-year, $48 million contract. $28 million of that is guaranteed. Always remember, y'all, when you look at the contract signings, look at the guaranteed number. Don't focus on the total number, because not often do all of the players actually fulfill their full contract. So always look at the guaranteed numbers, because those are the numbers that affect the salary cap the most. Now, if the players wind up fulfilling their full contract, that's a good thing. That means that they have been some hell of a players for the New Orleans Saints. But Travis Etienne signs a 4-year, $48 million contract for $28 million that is guaranteed. And oh, you might be saying, well, damn, man, yeah, it's good to have a running back, but what are we going to do if we can't open up them holes that we struggled to open up last year? Oh, fear not. Fear not. Miss Mickey Loomis said, I got y'all. I got y'all, because the Saints signed David Edwards, guard from the Buffalo Bills, to a 4-year, $61 million contract. $40 million of that is guaranteed. Boy, can you now envision an O-line with Kelvin Banks, Fuaga, Eric McCoy, David Edwards, and hell, I know he's not the most popular guy, but Central Reeves is pretty serviceable. That is actually probably maybe arguably the best O-line in the NFC South right now. So not only do we have Travis Etienne giving us some juice in the running game again, but we got David Edwards opening up them holes for us and making our O-line much, much more stable than what it needed to be with our guard play the past few years. Oh, but the Saints wasn't done. Mickey Loomis said, y'all thought y'all was done with me? Mickey Loomis said, y'all wrote me off, but I ain't right back. Because he wrote somebody else off. He wrote a nice off contract to Noah Fant. And Noah Fant, has signed a 2-year, $8.75 million contract with $4.5 million guaranteed. So now you got Juwan Johnson on one side. You got Noah Fant on the other side. You got Travis Etienne in the background. You got David Ellis opening up holes. The New Orleans Saints of 2026 are not the New Orleans Saints of 2025, Atlanta. They are not the New Orleans Saints of 2025 Carolina, and y'all lost to the 2025 New Orleans Saints. So don't think about that. And they are not the 2025 New Orleans Saints. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, but we're not even done yet. We're not even done yet because Mickey Loomis said, I got more up my sleeve. Ladies and gentlemen, that man spent 2 years in Atlanta and said, get me the hell up out of here. Kaden Elliss is coming back home. Kaden Elliss is back in the black and gold on a 3-year, $33 million contract with $23 million guaranteed. Oh, my, have mercy. The New Orleans Saints are not playing in 2026. The New Orleans Saints say, y'all want to give us a little bit of salary cap again? We're going to show you what we do when we rarely have salary cap. So, ladies and gentlemen, look at your brand new New Orleans Saints. Travis Etienne, David Edwards, Noah Fant, and Kaden Elliss. And this is one that didn't get a graphic from the NFL, I guess, because he's only a lowly punter. But we know we're old enough to remember how bad our punter was last year and the year before that. And the year before that. We're old enough to remember when our punter would shank his punts and our opposing teams would get the ball on the 40-yard line to start off their possessions. Not anymore. Not anymore. If you're going to try to score on Brandon Staley's defense, you're going to have to earn it this year because we signed Ryan Wright from the Minnesota Vikings to a 4-year, $14 million contract with $8 million guaranteed. Oh, I can't believe the Saints are spending money on a punter. And we all know how important field position is. Ask Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. Did y'all see the AFC Championship game? Did y'all see how much both coaches were vying for field position when that weather got crazy? Do y'all see how much field position matters in close games when one bad punt can make a team get an easy 3 points, and that could be the deciding factor in the game? Kellen Moore said, I'm tired of that bullshit. I'm tired of that bullshit because Ryan Wright is now a New Orleans Saint. And finally, we are not going to be doing this punter shuffle that we've been doing the past few years since Thomas Morstead. Stillily, we let him go. We now have stability at the punter position. Not only do we have stability, we have a damn good punter at the punter position. So we're taking care of offense. We've taken care of defense. We've taken care of special teams. And as bad as our punter situation was, somehow, some way, if y'all thought Mickey Loomis lost his fastball, then y'all might want to apologize to Mickey Calvin Loomis because Mickey Loomis found the way to trade Kai Kroger sad ass to the Houston Texans for a 6- and 7-round swap in 2028. Now, look, that's not going to be a trade that really makes any substantial difference to the New Orleans Saints or Houston Texans, but we all saw how bad Kai Kroger was last year. We all remember those 13, 17-yard punts he had. So the fact that Mickey Loomis was able to get some type of trade with any team is a miracle in itself. Mickey Loomis, welcome back. We missed you, Mickey Loomis. Welcome back. The New Orleans Saints are not playing in 2026, and we haven't even got to the draft yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, tell me, how do you guys feel so far about the 2026 New Orleans Saints free agency? Again, with the headliner being Travis Etienne, guard David Edwards, tight end Noah Fant, linebacker / pass rusher Kaden Elliss, and punter Ryan Wright. And we may not even be done yet. We are only 2 days past free agency, but they have a long more list of free agents to go. We still have some money to play with. How do you guys feel so far about the Saints free agency? And how do you guys feel now about our chances to possibly win a division or make the playoffs in 2026? Let me get to some of y'all comments right now. I'm going to start off with my guy, Jerry G. And he says he is glad Kai Kroger was traded to the Texans, but not only a 6th-round draft pick, Jerry, but it's a 6th and 7th-round pick, and it's a swap. So whichever team has the worst record in 2028, that's who gets the swap pick. So it should be interesting to see how both teams look in 2028. Mick Swagger says, Mickey Loomis is spending like he just got his tax refund. Well, if you guys have been following the news, the salary cap went up this offseason. So y'all know when that news came out about 3 weeks ago, we all were like, oh boy, Mickey Loomis with a quarterback who's on a 2nd-round rookie contract, and now he has more money in the salary cap. Oh, we all knew Mickey Loomis was going to act the fool this offseason. We all knew Mickey Loomis was going to act the fool this offseason. Bruce Saint says, let me get to your comment, Bruce Saint. Bruce Saint says, Travis Etienne is an A. Edwards is an A+. Kaden Elliss is an A. Ryan Wright is an A. And Noah Fant is A-. So Bruce Saint is giving the Saints A's all across the board. And Bruce Saint is not one to sugarcoat it, y'all. Bruce Saint going to call out bullshit when he sees it and damn shit when he smells it. So if Bruce Saint, y'all see Bruce Saint in the back, if Bruce Saint Sonia, Sandra, I think I see y'all in the chat. Make sure y'all check out y'all name on the scoreboard for giving out the super chat last week. If Bruce Saint is being this optimistic, that's saying something, y'all. That's absolutely saying something. The Know the Chop podcast says, I believe the next move is going to be in-house with Cam and Olave. We are going to talk about Chris Olave. We're going to talk about Cam Jordan. We're going to talk about some tough departures of the New Orleans. It wasn't just people arriving at the New Orleans airport this offseason. We got sadly some people who are going in that departure line and who are leaving the New Orleans Saints this offseason. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But right now, we are just going to talk about and celebrate the offseason acquisitions that the New Orleans Saints have brought in. Hurricane Mikey, it's good to see you, Hurricane Mikey. He says, the Saints did great. He was not the biggest Noah Fant fan, but he loves it. Sandra says, I understand the business side of the game, but those guys who are productive and the type of leadership that they have will be missed. Again, we are going to talk about the players who are leaving in a little bit. Let me see if I get to some more of y'all comments, as we are definitely all very, very excited about what is going on in the 2026 New Orleans Saints. I see all of y'all in the chat, y'all talking about the draft. We're going to talk about the draft too. Actually, we're going to have some dedicated shows to talk about the draft because obviously we're not going to make like 6 or 7 more free agency moves. There's only so many money coins in a cookie jar. So that makes us wonder, though, is the draft class and the draft board a little bit more clearer now that the Saints have made some free agency acquisitions? I'm sure I'll just give a preview. We all thought that maybe Jeremiah Love was going to be a New Orleans Saint. We were all excited about the possibility of adding running back from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love, to the New Orleans Saints. I know I damn sure was. I was already mocking him in our uniform, and I was like, oh, man, can you imagine an offense with Chris Olave, Titus Shucking, Jeremiah Love? What? I'm going to assume, without signing Travis Etienne, that Jeremiah Love will not be a New Orleans Saint. Now, crazy things have happened. You know, maybe Jeremiah Love does fall to number 8. But then you got to ask yourself, would the New Orleans Saints, after spending $28 million guaranteed on Travis Etienne, and technically Alvin Kamara stood on our team, would they still take a running back at number 8 if Jeremiah Love just happened to fall to number 8? I doubt Jeremiah Love does fall to number 8. It makes you wonder, how does the draft board for the New Orleans Saints look now after we added a running back, we added a guard, we added a linebacker? Does that affect how the Saints plan to go into the draft day in number 8 overall pick this April? I'm excited. Should be a lot to look forward to. Should definitely be an energy boost to the Saints. Absolutely. The Know the Chop podcast says, hey, Jono, Fox 8 hasn't highlighted you by giving you your own show yet. No, they have not, but I will make an announcement right now, you guys. I will be on Fox 8 tomorrow. Not on the news. We're going to do, it's a digital series that they're doing, and they're going to be interviewing yours truly yet again tomorrow to recap free agency. But you guys right now are getting the exclusive, I guess, or the sneak preview of how John Bones feels about free agency. But y'all know Fox 8 knows there's only one fan who is this shit more than the game certified, who can talk and be a voice for the first list, and that is me. So make sure y'all check out my YouTube community posts, all my social media platforms tomorrow. I'll post a link when it goes live, but I will be on Fox 8, and we will be talking about the 2026 New Orleans offseason and the upcoming draft and all things New Orleans. Shout out to Fox 8. I'm always honored and humbled when they ask me to come on and be a voice of the voiceless for you guys. So if there's anything you guys want me to say, they ask me, hey, man, John, how you doing? Saints fans are feeling about free agency. Now is your time to put in the chat how you guys are feeling about free agency so that I can speak for you guys. So if they ask me, hey, John, how you think fans feel about the draft now, who we should draft, let me know in the chat what do you guys feel, so that when Fox 8 asks me that, I can be a proper representative of the voice of the voiceless of the Who Dat Nation. I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to Fox 8. Shout out to you, the Know the Chop podcast. J-Rock says, this is the first time in a long time the Saints got into free agency, and I didn't have to hear the words salary cap hell. Now, the funny thing, J-Rock, is that there were a few Twitter analysts and accounts saying, man, how do the Saints do it? How do the Saints have money to sign all these people? They just don't know. The salary cap is a myth. The salary cap, okay, well, maybe the salary cap is not a myth. The salary cap is real, but there was ways to get some money out that banana pipe. There's always ways. I mean, Philadelphia gets celebrated for how they do it, maybe because they won the Super Bowl and we unfortunately did not. Shout out to Bill Vinovich. But there was always ways to find a way to get the players that you want. The funny thing this year is, though, because nobody was paying attention to the Saints in 2022 and 2023 and 2024, we all knew, Saints fans, we all knew, you knew J-Rock, you knew the Know the Chop podcast, you knew Sandra, you knew Mick Swagger, you knew Bruce Saint, you knew Hurricane Mikey, you knew Jerry G, that we had quiet off seasons the past few years, and that we were setting up for when the time was right to find and make some splashes in free agency. So if anybody was shocked this past 2 days, if the New Orleans Saints are making moves, yes, because we have obviously been setting up this past few seasons to make moves this season. Who did the New Orleans Saints sign in 2023? Who did the New Orleans Saints sign in 2024? Exactly. But nobody was paying attention to us. Now they're acting all caught off guard. They're going to be all caught off guard when we win the NFC South in 2026 too. That's neither here nor there. We have a super chat from the great Sandra, and Sandra leaves a $5 super chat. Sandra wants her name on this shit more than the scoreboard next week. Sandra wants her name back on that scoreboard. I see what you're doing, Sandra. Sandra says, do your thing, John. I appreciate you, Sandra. I'm going to do my thing because you're doing your thing, and I'm doing my thing because of all of you. So when I get to be on Fox 8 and do all these type of interviews and be the avatar of Who That Nation, it's because of you guys. So I appreciate y'all. I know that whenever I'm doing these media interviews and things like that, I know in my heart that I'm representing all of you guys, and I try to make y'all proud, and hopefully I do make y'all proud, because y'all damn sure make me proud every time I do my goddamn show or I do my content, or all the great things that great loosely, but all the great things that I do on social media. And again, if you guys are on any social media platforms, y'all see my social media right there. You know, Instagram, I'm popping. The boy's popping on Instagram now. If y'all missed the John O'Barnes Show, because obviously the John O'Barnes Show is not going to go live every week during the off season, you can still make sure that you hear from John O'Barnes, because I am active on Twitter and I am active on Instagram. Hell, I'm even active on TikTok. Basically every day, still posting my videos, still giving my analysis on the Saints moves and things like that. So I hope that you guys, I know not everybody's active on every social media platform like I am, but hopefully if you guys are at least on one of them, you guys can stay up to date on how I feel about certain things, because Lord knows I like to yap away on social media. Bruce saying you're absolutely right. The Saints are the pioneers of manipulating cap money. Jerry, you make a good point. This wasn't like a huge splash signing. Technically, it was a re-signing, so it really wasn't a free agent acquisition, but the Saints did re-sign John Ridgeway, defensive tackle, to a 2-year, $6 million contract. Now, let's be real, y'all. John Ridgeway is not a change maker. It's not an impact player. He doesn't really make that much noise when he's on the field. I hope that maybe he does do better in 2026 and 2027. But obviously, that's not going to be a move that moves the needle per se when it comes to the New Orleans Saints or the NFC South. So, but I am happy. Hey, every player that can get their money, I want to get their money. So yes, John Ridgeway, defensive tackle for the New Orleans Saints, backup defensive tackle, 2 years, $6 million guaranteed. We also took care of some in-house items as we signed all of these splashy free agency players in 2026. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't just the Saints making moves this offseason, because y'all remember all throughout the end of the season and all throughout the postseason, I told y'all, I say, look, I know that we're going to get our jokes off about the NFC South. I know that the rest of the world is getting their jokes off on the NFC South. The NFC South is so bad. Oh, man, look at that. The NFC South is going to have a division winner under 500, blah, blah, blah. I say that's true. We deserve our jokes in 2025, but I say watch out for the NFC South in 2026. I say because I promise you guys, all 4 teams, the Saints, the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Panthers, are going to go into 2026 believing that they have a shot to win the NFC South this upcoming season. And sure enough, every team in the NFC South so far in free agency is operating as if they have a shot to win the NFC South in 2026. Here are some of the more major moves that are going on in the NFC South so far in free agency. The Atlanta Falcons. Hold on, I'm trying to be professional. All right, let's do this again. Here are some of the moves the NFC South has made in 2026 free agency so far. The Atlanta Falcons have signed to a token. Okay. Hey, y'all remember when oh God. Y'all remember when the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, and then like a month later, they drafted Michael Penix with a top 10 pick, and now they're signing to a Tagovailoa. Falcons go Falcon. Falcons go Falcon. The Atlanta Falcons, y'all, signed Tua Tagovailoa to a minimum deal. To be fair, it was only a 1-year, $1.3 million contract. They signed him as insurance in case Michael Penix does not return as fast as they would like for him to return from his injury. But right now, the Atlanta Falcons employ 2 left-handed quarterbacks and 2 very injury-prone quarterbacks. Atlanta Falcons have, I can argue, a win-now team with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and AJ Terrell. They have a team that's actually capable of winning a lot of games and maybe winning 9, 10 games and making the playoffs. But the Atlanta Falcons do not have anybody who they can fully confidently say is the quarterback of their future the way the New Orleans Saints can. Because if you tell me that the Atlanta Falcons should have any NFC South team worried with Michael Penix and or Tua Tagovailoa at starting quarterback, then they are got to be, as we already know, the most delusional fan base in the world. Now, I've certainly got my jokes off on the Atlanta Falcons when they made that move. And a lot of the fans got a hold of my channel and my social media platforms and definitely have been very angry at me on Twitter and Instagram the past 24 to 36 hours. And their main rebuttal has mainly been, well, we swept you guys in 2025. And not only did we sweep you guys, Tua Tagovailoa beat you guys last year. So how can y'all laugh at us when not only did we sweep y'all, but y'all lost to Tua Tagovailoa? And I say like this. What is they talking about? Like we care that they swept us in 2025. We told everybody 2025 was going to be a down year. We told that NFC South, y'all better get y'all licks and knockers. When we get our lick back, we get our lick back in 2026. It's going to be no mercy. And to the Falcons' credit, they took advantage of us on a down year. The Bucks and Panthers did. But now we coming back in 2026. So if y'all want to keep doing victory laps about sweeping us and being tired of shuck with our third and fourth and fifth round wide receivers last year, will be a whole brand new story in 2026. And if you guys think, even with us losing to y'all back-to-back last year, even if us losing to Tua Tagovailoa last year, that we are scared of Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa, well, I would love to drink some of the water in Atlanta. Lord knows New Orleans needs all the water right now that we could get, apparently, huh? Like the clean water. But I would love to drink the water in Atlanta right now because you guys, oh, Lord have mercy. I love that the Atlanta Falcons are a rival. The Falcons weren't done, y'all. Y'all know Matt Ryan is the president of football operations or whatever the hell mumbo-jumbo title they gave him to come back to the organization. And what is the first thing that Matt Ryan does? He says, hey, I have a great idea. Let me bring back some of my friends from the 2018 and 2017 season when we were actually kind of worth the damn because they signed Austin Hooper. Wow, boy, Atlanta, that was in 2016 when you guys were actually good. We might actually give a damn about these type of moves. I think Matt Ryan's president of football operations start is off to a good start. He should hire Julio Jones next. Bring Julio Jones back. Bring Roddy White back. Matt Ryan, bring the whole band back together. Try to recapture that magic from 2016 to 2017 to 2018. We love it. Give Tua Tagovailoa, all Michael Penix, all the weapons that they need. Atlanta, come on, man, show us. Show us that 2026 is finally going to be the year that you guys rise up. Oh, boy. But not only was Atlanta making moves, guys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made a few moves as well because Alex Anzalone is back in the NFC South and he is now wearing the crimson colors of the pewter, I guess, if you want to call it the technical colors of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Alex Anzalone is back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is back in the NFC South with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers also signed Kenneth Gainwell. So they got some pretty good juice in their backfield, but the worst offseason might be to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan base because they lost one of their favorite players. They lost a guy who they feel like is the face of their franchise. And Lord knows, I'm just being real. I'm not trying to be a hater. We, as Saints fans, and I see some Falcons fans in the chat, Falcons fans, let me know if I'm right about this. Maybe this is something that, the enemy of my enemy is my friend can agree on. We never lost sleep over this player. And even though he might end up in the Hall of Fame, which is very, that's a conversation in itself, but nobody ever really said, oh man, I'm gonna be real. We didn't think about this player the way we thought about a Julio Jones or a Steve Smith. However, he is a legend in Tampa Bay, but he is no longer in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans is leaving the NFC South. It really feels like, y'all, the NFC South, this is like a brand new day in the NFC South in 2026. A lot of the old guard faces of the NFC South appear to be on their way out as we bring in a lot of new faces in the NFC South. That includes Mike Evans. He is leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to join the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Evans has signed a 3-year, $42 million contract to go to San Francisco with $16 million guaranteed. Mike Evans is no longer in Tampa Bay, and the Bucs fans are crashing the fuck out. Now, again, I'm gonna be honest, man. I respect Mike Evans. I think the shit that he did to Lattimore was some bullshit during that rivalry, but that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna just be honest. Like, I never once thought of Mike Evans as a top 3, top 5 wide receiver. I respect his consistency. I truly do. I think it's pretty impressive to go 1,000 yards every season. I mean, even though the 2024 one was some bullshit that I'm still mad at the Saints for giving him that Make-A-Wish ass 1,000 yard season. But either way, I'm impressed with that. But I never thought, oh man, Mike Evans is a top 3, top 5 wide receiver. So, you know, I never lost sleep over him. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's never been like, I don't know, I never viewed him the way I viewed a Calvin Johnson or a Randy Moss, you know, like the Larry Fitzgerald, who's joining Drew Brees on the Hall of Fame this year, like those guys, you know, those dogs that wide receiver. I never saw it that way. But Tampa Bay, boy, they love them some Mike Evans, and their fans are crashing out at Mike Evans leaving to join the San Francisco 49ers. No, this is the team that Saints fans, I know we swept them. And I know that they backed their way into the NFC South title in 2025. But I must say, I'm a fair man. Usually I'm on social media. I draw a fine line between playing a character of wanting to trash talk my NFC South division foes and wanting to be, you know, serious with my analysis. Usually on the John Bones show is where you guys are the exclusive audience because you guys tune in that get like my actual opinion on, you know, division foes or the NFL moves and things like that, where I kind of turn off my fan hat a little bit, or not turn it off, but maybe drop the volume down a little bit and give my actual analysis. I'm going to be honest. Watch out for Carolina next year. Watch out for Carolina. I know we swept them. I got a lot of pushback from Saints fans on the app today, on social media, on Twitter. I know we swept them. I know that a lot of Saints fans still do not believe in Bryce Young because for whatever reason, Bryce Young, where he treats the Falcons like kitties, he treats the Saints like giants. You know, like we own Bryce Young. I get all that. But if you didn't just watch Bryce Young struggle against the New Orleans Saints, Bryce Young had some very impressive games last year. He had a very good playoff game against the Rams where they almost beat the Rams. So the Panthers, 8 wins last year. They backed to the NFC South title. I get all that. But they got some pieces around them, and they added some more pieces this offseason, starting with Jalen Phillips, who they signed to a 4-year, $120 million contract with $80 million guaranteed. That D-line in Carolina is not going to be something that we can just shoo away from. They also, this is a really good signing in my opinion. This is a guy that apparently the Saints were interested in as well. Devin Lloyd. They signed Devin Lloyd to a 3-year, $45 million contract. Y'all, I'm not saying I'm scared of the Panthers. I'm not scared of any NFC South teams, to be honest. But I will say, if you ask me right now, March 10th, 2026, which NFC South team is probably going to be the biggest threat to stopping us from maybe getting back on our throne on top of the NFC South? I would say it is the Carolina Panthers. Now, it all depends on, of course, Bryce Young. Is Bryce Young really ready to take that next step the way he showed some flashes of taking last season? Or is Bryce Young going to regress back to that median that us Saints fans damn sure know where else where he's all right, but, you know, he's in that Kyler Murray, you know, Tua Tagovailoa tier where, you know, yeah, maybe you can get to the playoffs with him, but, you know, there's a peak to him that just he ain't going to overcome. We'll see. But I do think Carolina has some pieces to them. And they added 2 very good defensive players this year. And I know we're excited as Saints fans. And Lord knows I'm going to be the main soldier on the front lines to rally us around that excitement going into the 2026 season. But if I can be real for a second, I do want to say that, look, we just can't act like, oh, man, yeah, we swept Carolina last year, so we ain't worried about Carolina. No, Carolina has a squad, y'all. And they're going to be a formidable opponent to us in 2026. Yeah, I mean, look, the Bucs and the Falcons, for all the days that we laughing about with them losing Mike Evans and the Falcons signing Tua Tagovailoa and going into 2026 where Tagovailoa and Michael Penix are still starting quarterbacks. And this is sort of still, for our crazy silliness, a competitive division, all right? Like the Saints, for all of the moves we made, and I'm loving the Travis Etienne signing, I'm loving the David Edwards signing, I'm loving the Noah Fant signing, I'm loving the Kaden Ellis signing, I'm loving the Ryan Wright signing. And we're still not some super max team, okay? We still got some days to work on it. We still got to see if Tyler Shuck is going to go into a sophomore slump, or is he really going to be that guy that we believe in our hearts that he is going to be? So I am so excited and intrigued about what the NFC South is going to look like in 2026. But I do think, and maybe I'm biased, but at the same time, I was on here in 2024 and I was on here in 2025 saying I don't think the Saints going to be shit. So we're not going to get on here every offseason and say, oh, yeah, black and gold till I die. You know, Saints till I ride. You know, no. I try to call a spade a spade. I am genuinely excited about the 2026 New Orleans Saints, and I am genuinely excited about the possibility of the Saints making the playoffs next year. But Carolina Panthers might have something to say about that, and that should be some good battles in 2026. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to the 2026 season, and I'm looking forward to some of y'all comments. Let me get to some more of y'all comments on how do y'all feel about the NFC South as a total 2 days until 2026 free agency. Bruce Saint says, the Panthers defense will definitely keep my eyes peeled. Again, man, look, y'all, Devin Lloyd and Jaden Phillips, those ain't no, middle of the pack free agents. Like, those are some top tier free agent acquisitions from Carolina. So that defense is definitely going to, they got swept by Tyler Shough. They said, we ain't trying to get swept by Tyler Shough again. We'll see what that defense looks like in 2026. But Tyler Shough better be improving his game this offseason because they're going to come hard at him in 2026. Jody Bear says, Atlanta Falcons fan, by the way, y'all, for y'all first time viewers who might be joining tonight. LOL, is Tyler Shough going to take y'all to the playoffs? Y'all can't possibly believe that. I know you don't believe that Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix is going to take y'all to the playoffs. I know you don't believe that. I told Johnny Bear on my comments today when I made that video about the Falcons. And I told all the Falcons fans, they are very, very hypocritical because I absolutely guarantee y'all that the roles were reversed. If it was the New Orleans Saints that employed Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa, Falcons fans would be spamming this chat right now laughing at us. Falcons fans would be spamming this chat, spamming our social media accounts. They will be throwing parades in the street saying, hey, y'all, the Saints got Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterbacks. So it has been very, very fun to watch the Atlanta Falcons try to talk their way out of the fact that Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa are their starting quarterbacks. You can't make this up. I know he's not on the show anymore, y'all, but you really just can't make this up when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons fans. Oh, man, have mercy, do I let the day are our division rivals. Let me get to some more of y'all comments. Sandra, so far nothing has happened with Kyler Murray. He is still a free agent. I don't even know if they officially released him yet, but it seems like from what the tea leaves are saying is that his most likely destination that he's going to land in is Minnesota. So we'll see. Slim South says Mike Evans was tired of Baker Mayfield. He was definitely tired of something in Tampa Bay because he actually took less money, I believe, to go to San Francisco than he would have to stay in Tampa Bay. And Bruce Saint agrees with me. Like, this is again, we're real. We talk shit on this show, but we are very real. Like Julio Jones to me, yeah, at his peak, a Hall of Famer, top 3 wide receiver, somebody that you went to bed like on Saturday night saying, damn, man, I hope that we can find a way to stop Julio Jones. Mike Evans, and I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not trying to write him out. I'm just saying he was just never in that Julio Jones. Honestly, Michael Thomas's peak is way better than anything I ever saw from Mike Evans. Bucs fans get mad at me every time I say that on social media. Bucs fans get mad when I say, is Mike Evans really a Hall of Famer? Because I always say, like, to be a Hall of Famer, like, look, it's got to be hard to make the Hall of Fame. Like, there's got to be a line, like, where, like, it shouldn't be very good players. It should be, if you are a Hall of Famer, you are, like, the top of your position. You are in that top 0.02% when it came to your position. I do not believe that Mike Evans was ever in that 0.02 top percentage of wide receivers. I applaud his consistency the same way I applaud Frank Gore for having those 12, 13 plus years as running back and playing consistent football. But was Frank Gore ever a top running back with the Adrian Petersons and running backs like that? No. Was Mike Evans ever with that pawn and that Julio Jones or Calvin Johnson tier? He wasn't. He just wasn't. But hey, if he makes the Hall of Fame, I'm not going to protest anything about it. I just don't think Saints fans ever really saw him like that. And it didn't help that Marshawn Lattimore always owned Mike Evans every time we played the mini either. So have fun in San Francisco, Mike Evans. Have fun in San Francisco. Let me get to some more of y'all comments and see if y'all had any more comments to say about the NFC South. Bruce Saint says, now to be fair, what else can you do if you're Atlanta? Yeah, look, I mean, from I see some analysts trying to justify the Tua Tagovailoa move by saying where Miami, the Dolphins are still paying Tua Tagovailoa the bulk of his contract, right? Like they're paying 98% of Tua Tagovailoa's contract. All Atlanta's paying is $1 million. And worst case is that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the backup for Michael Penix. And you got 2 left-hand quarterbacks now. And that helps the wide receivers and the running backs, they said, because having 2 left-hand quarterbacks makes it easier to not have to worry about adjusting to a right-hand quarterback, yada, yada, yada. But it is just objectively funny. It is just objectively funny that the Falcons went from signing Kirk Cousins to that big-ass contract to then drafting an injury-prone quarterback with a top 10 pick a month later, and now they got Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback. And look, all jokes aside, like Tua Tagovailoa is a fine quarterback. He's not like one of the worst quarterbacks of all time or anything like that. He's a fine quarterback. He did beat the Saints. He beat the Saints. I think he's 2-0 against the Saints. I think one of his wins was that time when we had the COVID list took out like half of our goddamn team. So we were playing people literally off the street. So, I mean, take that for what you will. But Tua Tagovailoa is a fine quarterback. But again, it's kind of like when we signed Derek Carr. And what were the Falcons fans doing on my show and on all the platforms? The Saints got Derek Carr. That's the same damn thing in Falcons fans, but you guys having Tua Tagovailoa. So y'all can try to talk y'all way into it. Y'all can try to do the look at all y'all want. Y'all know damn well if the Saints had Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa as our starting quarterbacks, y'all will be talking shit. So eat y'all shit sandwich. Because Lord knows y'all will be serving it if it was on the other foot. Let me see if we got any more final comments, and then we get to some more of the non-NFC South free agent acquisitions. Johnny says, if Tua B. Shot's going to be held up here on the street. Hey, one thing about me, Johnny Bear, unlike your fan base, is that I show up rain or shine, win or lose. I've been doing this content game for 5 years now. The Saints have not made the playoffs in those 5 years, and I am here on the show every single week saying this shit more than the game. I will be on here if the Atlanta Falcons beat us with Michael Penix or if they beat us with Tua Tagovailoa. J-Rock says that he heard on the NFC South roundtable that Mike Evans was complaining that he didn't get the ball enough. Well, that sounds like a personal problem for Mike Evans, that he can hopefully get the ball now in San Francisco. Mick Swagger says, if Mike Evans makes the Hall of Fame, I'm going to be fair. Marcus Golston, as good as he was, Mike Evans had a better career. Mike Evans is a better wide receiver. I hate to say that out loud, but Mike Evans is a better wide receiver than Marcus Golston. But for me, the Hall of Fame needs to be, again, like that top 0.02%. It's supposed to be hard to make the Hall of Fame. Like, you can't just be very good for a stretch of your career. You got to be elite for multiple years. You got to be Calvin Johnson. You got to be Randy Moss. You got to be Larry Fitzgerald. Mike Evans was never in that tier to me. But he's probably going to get in because of the fact that Tom Brady got him a ring and because he had that silly little 1,000-yard streak that the national media loves to touch themselves over. Saquon Barkley says, Bam Adebayo has 80 points. Wow. Is that the final Saquon Barkley level? Does he have more? Is he about to beat Kobe Bryant's record of 81? Now, how in the world does Bam Adebayo has 80 points? I never thought in the world, if you can tell me, hey, John, who are the top 30 players in the NBA that can score 80 points in today's game, Bam Adebayo would not have made the top 50. So that's incredible. I did see right before I went on the show, I saw people tweet about Bam, and I ain't thinking anything of it. I said, well, maybe he has like 20 rebounds or something, but he has 80 points. That is incredible. That is absolutely. Shout out to Bam Adebayo, man. It was who's his girlfriend? It's that WNBA player, right? Aja Wilson, I think. She must be in the audience tonight because Bam is going hard. Let me check NBA Twitter right quick. 83 points. Wow. Kobe Bryant, hopefully you're looking down, smiling on Adebayo. Adebayo has 83 points. Wow. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That's some this shit more than the game certified shit. Shout out to Bam Adebayo, man. That's more points than the Pelicans be scoring in games sometimes. The whole Pelicans team. 83 points. Wow. That's crazy. That's historic, man. Shout out to Bam Adebayo. I got to watch these highlights, man. Bam Adebayo? How does Bam Adebayo has 83 points? How? Yeah, if you were to say Steph Curry, if you were to say SGA, if you were to say Jokic, if you were to say Wemby, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, those are the best players in the league. Nothing against Bam Adebayo, but good Lord, Bam Adebayo has 83 points? Hell yeah, she must be in the audience. Wow, that's incredible. That's history. That's history. I can't wait to watch those highlights. Wow. Shout out to Bam Adebayo, man. That is insane. 83. I know. This is history. This is history. Damn, I got 5 stars on my TV. This is Bam Adebayo has 83 points. Incredible. Thanks for that update, y'all. I appreciate that y'all know that I'm an NBA fan too. So I love getting updates like that while I'm on my show because I had no idea. Again, right before I went on the show, people tweeting like, oh my God, Bam Adebayo. I didn't know if it was like he did a great dunk or if he, had 40 or 50. This man has 83 points. Wow. Incredible. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's when sports is awesome. That's when you got, even if you're a big Miami Heat hater, man, you got to take your hater hat off and just be like, hey, man, greatness is a great thing that we as fans get to witness. Shout out to you, Bam Adebayo. 83 points. Wow. Wow. I need a cigarette after that. Let's hear a word from one of our sponsors. Here's a gift just for you for being a fan. Are you going to a sports game or a concert or any major event? Well, buy your tickets from SeatGeek and use the promo code JONO at checkout and you can receive $20 off your purchase over $50. That's $20 off your purchase. What are you waiting for? You know this shit more than the game, man. Now, even though we live in our NFC South bubble, y'all, NFC South is not the only teams making moves this offseason. So I did want to pick out some of the more major moves from the NFL teams this in 2026 NFL free agency, and I would love to get y'all thoughts on some of the more major moves that's not directly affecting the NFC South or our New Orleans Saints. So first of all, let's talk about the big news that came on before the show. Max Crosby. He was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for 2 first-round picks, and literally about an hour and a half before my show, the breaking news came out that the Baltimore Ravens backed out of the trade. It has since been announced that apparently Max Crosby failed his physical, and he is now returning back to Las Vegas. And that's crazy because everybody was thinking that Max Crosby was going to make the Ravens back into that Super Bowl contending tier AFC teams. So now where do the Baltimore Ravens go from here? Where do the Las Vegas Raiders go from here? Because the Raiders made a lot of free agency moves thinking that, we ain't got to worry about Max Crosby's contract. So just a wild NFL free agency we've had so far, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Max Crosby now. And how hurt is he? Is he really seriously hurt? Did the Baltimore Ravens get biased remorse, say, do we really want to give 2 first-round picks for a defensive end? And so they say, look at that. Look what we found on his physical. Because we remember the greatest failed physical designation of all time was one Drew Brees, who was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer. And the Miami Dolphins said, we think that your shoulder has a few nerve stuff that we just don't trust yet. And the New Orleans doctors say, shit, your shoulder looks fine to us. Come to New Orleans. And the rest is history. So we'll see just how serious apparently Max Crosby's injuries are, but he will not be going to the Baltimore Ravens. We will see now what happens as far as his future with the Las Vegas Raiders. As well, Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP. Seattle said, thanks for the championship. Now go ahead on. He is going head on to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, who will also have Travis Kelce returning back for a 14th season. So it'll be interesting to see if the Chiefs are going to make another run for it. I know Mahomes, we'll see when he actually comes back from his injury, but signing Kenneth Walker is a great move for the Kansas City Chiefs. It gives Mahomes finally a top running back that he hasn't really had throughout his career. And I think it's going to be a very, very, even if Mahomes isn't like playing football in September and October, just to have that backup quarterback being able to say, I got a security blanket in Kenneth Walker, it's a very, very good move for the Kansas City Chiefs. I very much like that move. Now, here's a move that people were saying that this guy was probably the #1 ranked free agent in the NFL going into 2026 because of how valuable the quarterback position is and because of how good he played in Green Bay last season. Malik Willis, see, Dolphins say, hey, y'all can take Tua Tagovailoa. We got our eye on this guy. Malik Willis is now the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. So even though the Dolphins are still paying Tua Tagovailoa, like I believe $90+ million of his contract, they also are now paying Malik Willis about, what was Malik Willis' contract? About $30 million, which is a good deal, I think, for someone like Malik Willis. And he is now the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. And I will say this, Malik Willis did look pretty good during his time in Green Bay this past season when Jordan Love was out. So I think this could be a very sneaky good move for the Miami Dolphins as they are doing a complete rebuild of their team with their new head coach. And we will see if Malik Willis is now going to get his chance to be the #1 guy if he is the real deal. But it's going to be interesting to see how Malik Willis looks now as he is the #1 guy in Miami. Now, as some people mentioned earlier in the chat, and like I said, New Orleans, our airport isn't just going to get some arrivals this free agency period. Sadly, we are going to get some departures because, there was a reason why we had to sign Kaden Elliss. And that's because, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, y'all, but Demario Davis is no longer a New Orleans Saint. And y'all remember around the midpoint way of our season last year, we did a show dedicated to like which Saints players are we comfortable, I guess, with, keeping or leaving. And I did Demario, I did Kamara, I did Cam Jordan, I did Taysom, etc. There is a world where we may not have we know we don't have Demario, but we may not have Cam Jordan. He's still a free agent right now. He hasn't signed with anybody yet, but Cam Jordan is a free agent. It'll be interesting to see if Cam Jordan goes for a deal with another team that offers him more money, or does he come back to New Orleans? There's a world where Alvin Kamara says, okay, well, if y'all got Etienne, then peace out. Ian Rappaport suggested that retirement is actually a realistic thing that Kamara might consider. As well, ESPN and Schefter reported yesterday that Alvin Kamara, with the signing of Travis Etienne, there are questions around the league about his future and moving on from the New Orleans Saints. And with the Saints be willing to trade him, would Alvin Kamara actually want to be traded? Because remember last year, Alvin Kamara said that, hey, if the Saints trade me, I'm retiring. I don't want to play anywhere else but New Orleans. If they trade me, I'll just take that as, hey, my time as a player has come to an end. I'll be on the beach drinking pina coladas. So we are going to see about Alvin Kamara and a lot of these other Saints. But for sure, we know that Demario Davis, and I know this hurts your heart, Sandra, is no longer a New Orleans Saint. And how do you guys feel about that? Because we talked about it in the mid-season point last year. You know, we have a whole season after that it felt like a whole brand new season when Tyler Shuck came in and the Saints started looking good. And it's like, damn, you know, maybe we want to keep riding it out with a DeMario and a Cam Jordan and players like that, because Tyler Shuck elevates everybody else, that those guys are valuable to our culture and still valuable on the field. But there's also that point that's you go, you know, at some point we got to like really commit to this rebuilding and, you know, looking forward to the future. And this Cam Jordan and Demario Davis and players like that are part of the future. I'll say this. There's a saying in football, and Bill Belichick was a master at employing it. It is better to be 1 year early on letting a player go than 1 year late. And I think this is the case right now where the Saints are probably letting DeMario go 1 year early instead of being 1 year late. And we are stuck with a contract with him when he finally lost a Father Time. I think DeMario Davis is still a good player. I think he's going to be very productive in New York. I think it's pretty funny that, you know, we all assumed that if DeMario or if Cam leaves, like we all thought they were going to go to like Kansas City or Buffalo, like a teams that can win the Super Bowl this year. DeMario say, man, hell with that. Who throwing me the most money? New York? All right, because we all know DeMario ain't winning no goddamn Super Bowl in New York. But I ain't mad at it. Get your money, DeMario. And Cam, if you wind up leaving because some team is offering you $32 million, get your money. Football's the most barbaric sport in the world. Get your money. Them Reigns ain't estimated at $13 million value. The Jets signed DeMario Davis to a 2-year, $22 million contract, $15 million guaranteed. Ain't no Super Bowl ring waiting $15 million. So DeMario, get your goddamn money. I ain't mad at you. But I understand why the Saints said it's time. It's time. And it sucks. And DeMario is forever going to be a legend in New Orleans. He is always going to be welcome back to the city. He is this shit more than the game certified to the bone. We love him. It pisses me off that the DeMarios, the Lattimores, sadly soon possibly the Cam Jordans and the Camaras and the Taysom Hills didn't get a ring. Like all of those guys should be Super Bowl champions with the New Orleans Saints. It would be so much easier to say goodbye to a DeMario, a Taysom Hill, or a Cam Jordan had we got that goddamn ring in 2019 that the Rams and the Bill Vinovich screwed us out of. So that's what really sucks about it. But at the same time, it's 2026 now. Y'all know football players age like milk. Like, you got to start looking to the future soon. And I know people like Sandra and some of the more casual fans are heartbroken. Like, no, DeMario, no, Kamara, no, Cam Jordan. You know, all I can say to that is, I mean, there's always going to be more players that come in that we fall in love with, right? Like, you know, Caden Ellis on his second stop as a Saint. He might become a fan favorite more than he was when he was originally here, right? Travis Etienne might become a great fan favorite. You know, there's always going to be opportunities for new faces to come in and to win over the Saints fans' hearts. So I am absolutely going to miss DeMario Davis. I wish him the best in New York. Hey, I mean, there's worse places to retire as a rich man than in New York. So even though it's probably made some fans go, the Jets, hey, he's got 15 million reasons why he says I'll go back to the New York Jets under Aaron Glenn. I wish DeMario the best, and I totally understand why the Saints said we gotta move on. The Saints are also moving on from Alontae Taylor, because Alontae Taylor, shout out to Alontae Taylor, he is going to the Tennessee Titans on the 3-year, $60 million contract with $42 million guaranteed. Alontae Taylor got $42 million guaranteed. Good Lord. That's actually one of the, there's like right now so far a top 5 guaranteed contract so far in the NFL. Alontae Taylor got $42 million guaranteed. Hey man, you only has worked as much as the highest bidder is willing to go for you. So Alontae Taylor is going to be in Tennessee. I thought Alontae was very good in Brandon Staley's scheme. I thought Alontae Taylor still, to be honest with me, which has untapped potential. He has the ability, in my opinion, to be a top 10 playmaker at the cornerback position, whether it's in the slot or whether they play him on the outside, which in New Orleans, we asked him a lot. Like he started off on the outside. Then we say come play on the slot. I mean, that's two completely different type of positions. Same position name, but to go from the outside to the slot is asking a lot of a player. Alontae did it with no issues and no quarrels, and I always would appreciate that about him. He played hard. He was a great blitzer. I am very, very happy for him for getting his money in Tennessee. I wish him all the best. He's in the AFC, so we got no reason to cheer for his downfall or anything like that. He showed New Orleans love right before free agency with a thank you letter to New Orleans. Go ball out in Tennessee, Alontae, but just obviously the New Orleans Saints right now, given where we are as a franchise, we're not in a position to be playing someone like Alontae Taylor, $42 million guaranteed. And our old friend Shaheed, and this is another great move by Mickey Loomis because Lord knows we probably would not have been able to keep Shaheed and the impending Chris Olave contract. So we said, hey, let's get something for Shaheed now instead of just losing him for nothing in the offseason. Well, we traded him to Seattle, and Seattle saw enough of him in second half of the season that included him winning the Super Bowl. They re-signed Shaheed to a 3-year, $51 million contract, $34 million guaranteed. Now, as much as we all love Shaheed and we all thought about, hey, could the Saints keep Shaheed and Olave? There just probably isn't any world where we can pay Shaheed $34 million guaranteed and soon pay Olave what it's going to be in excess to over $100 million at the wide receiver spot. I mean, if you're going to pay that much money for two wide receivers, it better be a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins, not a Chris Olave and a Rashid Shaheed. So I'm glad that Shaheed has found a home in Seattle. He's already got a Super Bowl ring. He is now rich. What a story for a guy who went undrafted in the league. I wish he was still in New Orleans because I can just imagine how much fun it would have been for having Chuck and Shaheed, but things happen, and Shaheed is now going to stay in Seattle, make his money, and try to fight off all of the NFC opponents who are coming for Seattle, and they're thrown on top of the NFC. That's the NFL free agency fallout, guys. Man, that's a lot, huh? And that's just half of the moves. I couldn't get to every move. I just wanted to highlight some of the major moves. But I want to know you guys' opinion about the players that are leaving. Again, DeMario for sure is gone. There are questions about Alvin Kamara's future. Cam Jordan is still a free agent. We will see what happens with Cam Jordan. And Taysom Hill has been very quiet on the Taysom Hill front. I think with Taysom Hill, if I were Taysom Hill, because we all know Taysom Hill's body, of all of those four players, is the one that's really breaking down the most. Like you can see that Taysom Hill is obviously not the Taysom Hill of the past few years. So if I was Taysom Hill, what I would do is this. I would, continue to train hard, but I would be in no rush to sign with any team. I would wait till December. I would say I'm going to wait till December and see who are the contenders by that point. And if any of those contenders want to sign me for a late season playoff push, then I'll possibly sign with them. But I would not if I was Taysom Hill, given how much wear and tear his body has gone through these past few years. I would not sign with any team and subject myself to a 17-game season. I would say, you know what? I'm going to wait till December. I'm going to see if, maybe the Broncos are contenders again in 2026. And if Sean Payne gives me a call and say, yo, Taysom, here we are. We're number 3 in the AFC. We got a shot at the Super Bowl again. We could really use you for our December and January push. Do you want to come back? That's what I would do if I was Taysom. Hell, if the New Orleans Saints are contenders, Kellen Moore seemed to love Taysom Hill just as much as Sean Payne did. If the Saints are fighting for the NFC South in 2026 in December, and Kellen Moore says, yo, Taysom, what you think about maybe coming back, playing for us the rest of the season? That's what Taysom Hill would do. If I were Taysom Hill, that's what I would do. I would wait till the end of the season and then say, hey, I'm willing to come back to a contender. But I would not, if I was Taysom Hill, try to subject myself and my body, which is breaking down to a 17-game season. But we'll see. I mean, Taysom might just retire period and say, I'm done with the game. It seems like he actually might retire. Like, he's been real quiet. He gave that very emotional press conference after the Jets game this past season where it seemed like, whoa, is this Taysom Hill saying goodbye to the Saints, or is this Taysom Hill saying goodbye to the NFL? But we'll see about that. And Cam Jordan, I know, I'm one of the main ones last season who was like, oh, man, we got to move to the future. We got to move to the future. But losing DeMario and Cam Jordan in one offseason would be a lot. And possibly Kamara, I'm like, can we at least keep one? My dad always said, he said, you can rebuild the house, but just because you're rebuilding the house don't mean that you got to get rid of that nice fancy chandelier. Some things you can keep in your house even though you're rebuilding it, right? Maybe Cam Jordan is that old fancy chandelier. Like, even though we're remodeling the house and revamping it completely, we can still keep that nice fancy chandelier. And that nice fancy chandelier is Cam Jordan, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that Cam Jordan stays in New Orleans Saints, but I am bracing myself. And honestly, I'm surprised he hasn't signed with any team yet, because I woke up to this morning saying, John, this is going to be the day that we get that notification that Cam Jordan is signing with such and such. I'm still bracing myself for it. Like, I'm going into these next few days saying Cam Jordan is not going to be a New Orleans Saint. Now, it's one of those things though, that I'll believe it when I see it, because You still see Cam Jordan repping New Orleans on social media. He still is at the Pelicans games. He was sitting courtside with Gail Benson literally like a week ago. So I'm like, okay, is he really leaving or not? You know, but business is business and personal is personal. I get all that. So it's one of those things that I got to see to believe, but I am mentally preparing myself that Cam Jordan is also not going to be a New Orleans Saint in 2026. It'll be interesting to see. But how do y'all feel about the Saints possibly losing 4 of their legends in one off season? Let's get to some of y'all comments. I know I've been rambling, so I'm probably way behind on the comments. I'm going to do my best to try to catch up. But let me see what some of y'all are saying. Starting with Bruce. I was kind of on Bruce saying for kind of giving me a good stomp on the way to check my comments. He says, the Alante departure makes defensive back a priority in the draft. Caleb Downs might be the move. We're gonna close out the show talking about the draft. Bruce saying, and then we're going to do more shows in the future where we really do a deep dive into the draft. Hurricane Mikey says, Taylor is understandable. I love Alante, but he's too inconsistent, especially on the outside. $60 million is crazy, but I wish him the best. Let me get to some more of y'all comments. I see Juddy Bear and some Falcons fans talking trash. That's all good. Mikey also says, we all knew this day was coming. I have not been this emotional since Drew retired. I think DeMario going to the Jets proved he just wanted to retire with the real team that drafted him. I love the Kaden Ellis pickup. I'm going to push back on that, Mikey. I don't think it had anything. I mean, I think it's a nice story. Like, I'm sure that had a small part. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. When DeMario got his contract offer from the Jets, I get to go back to the team where I started with it and possibly end my career there. But if the Jets were giving him $8 million instead of $15 million, I don't think DeMario would be like, oh, I want to go back to the place where I started was that hard. I think DeMario said, God damn, $15 million, $22 million if I do my next 2 seasons. Yeah, I think I'll be happy to be a New York Jet. So people saying he wants to. I don't think that. No, I think DeMario said, "Pay me." I don't think it's about. Oh man, I got to go to the team where I started with. No. I mean, y'all think if the Bills offered DeMario $16 million guaranteed, DeMario would say, nah, I'm gonna go back to the place at $1 million shorter to go where I started at. No, man, it's about the money. It ain't nothing wrong with that. It should be about the money. He, at 37 years old, still has the ability to cash out on his playing career. Cash the fuck out, DeMario. Hell yeah. So I get it. It's a nice story. I'm sure DeMario's going to mention it. Yeah, this is where I started. It so kind of has a nice little sprinkle to the ice cream. But let me tell you something. The ice cream is that $15 million guaranteed. The sprinkle is I get to go back to the place I started with. He ain't go to the shop asking for some sprinkles. He went to the shop saying, give me the goddamn ice cream. He wanted that goddamn money. The sprinkle was just that the New York Jets was the one to offer him the money. So I get the narrative y'all trying to go with he gets to retire at where he started. But I promise y'all, he ain't signed with them because he wants to go back to where he started. He signed with them because they were the one team saying, we'll give you $22 million guarantee, $22 million, 15 guaranteed. Follow the money. Always follow the money. And Demario Davis should. He's a smart man. Follow that goddamn money. He's a religious man. He probably prayed to God. God, what should I do? God wrote back, follow the goddamn money. Let me get to some more comments. And then we'll talk a little about the draft. We're gonna do a long show tonight, y'all, because we started real late. But I just really want to, recap the NFL free agency so far. And Bruce Saint says losing DeMario and Cam would suck, but to be more positive, it could be because they are confident that the young guys can take their place, like a Chase Young and a Danny Stutzman. It's going to be very interesting to see how Stutzman look because he should be given the keys to the linebacker position now this season, unless we do something different, interesting in the draft. Kevin Austin says, we need, and Kevin, I think it was you comment about Kamara's future in one of my videos. I'm not, speculating on all willy-nilly about Kamara. I mean, the national media is saying that, hey, Kamara might not be a New Orleans Saint. But either way, Kevin Austin says, I need Taysom as that veteran presence for Shuck. I need Kamara because nowadays the defense has the game plan for both Kamara and Etienne. Now, look, I agree. If Kamara wants to stay and if the Saints want to keep him, yeah, I'm good with a Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara backfield. But you got to follow the tea leaves. One, we signed the running back to a lot of money. Two, if you look at the contract restructure that we did with Kamara, it was a very unique restructure in that it was kind of reworked in a way that we can cut him or release him or something on June 1st, and we get less of a cap here. And everybody was like, well, that's interesting because, usually when we restructure contracts, it's kind of just to push money back, a year or so ahead so we can get more money for the present. But Elvin's restructure was more of hey, you might not be a New Orleans Saint, so you can follow the tea leaves. It's not just blind speculation is like, okay, is Alvin Kamara going to retire, or are the New Orleans Saints and Kamara at a mutual agreement that, hey, you're no longer going to be a New Orleans Saint? I hope he is a New Orleans Saint. I would love a backfield of Alvin Kamara and Travis Etienne. But you got to follow the money. Like I just said about DeMario, follow the money. We'll see what happens with Alvin Kamara. Jerry thinks Alvin is staying. I hope that he does stay. I hope that he does stay. You're right, Captain. Tell him to drop them goddamn likes already. God damn it. Tell him to drop them goddamn likes. But we will see. Like I said to start the show, the New Orleans Saints look a lot different in 2026 already than they did in 2025. It is going to be a very, very interesting season. I am so very much looking forward to it. Man, the Saints were giving out contracts in free agency. They were giving out contracts the way Tyler Shuck was giving out beads this Mardi Gras. Man, I hope y'all had a great Mardi Gras, because y'all see, Tyler Shuck had a great Mardi Gras, but he got to kind of learn a little bit, as he gets more acclimated to New Orleans culture, how to Mardi Gras a little bit more properly. Y'all want to know how Tyler Shuck was throwing the Mardi Gras beads? Ow! I ain't tried that. Hey! Ow, sure. Hey, man, come on. Trying out for the Saints. I mean, come on. Tyler Shuck, save that arm for Olave and Valet and Polk and Palmer and maybe Cornell Tate, maybe Malik Lemon, because the draft board looks a lot clearer after the free agency so far from the New Orleans Saints. Here are the Saints' top draft prospects going into next month. Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame. Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State. Cornell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State. Geez, Ohio State should have won the championship the way they got all these players on the top. Jordan Tyson, wide receiver. Makai Lemon, wide receiver. Ruben Bain, defensive end from Miami. Francis Muaga, guard from Miami. And Mansour Delaney, cornerback from LSU. These are the top prospects right now for the New Orleans Saints in the positions of need. Now, Jeremiah Love is probably scratched off that list, given that we signed Travis Etienne. But I don't know, because, we live in a world in the NFL where it doesn't hurt to have two good running backs. We know that firsthand with Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. So I'm leaving Jeremiah Love on the board, because if there is a world where the top 7 teams talk themselves out of Jeremiah Love because they're like, we just don't want to draft a running back in the top premium position of a draft, Kellen Moore asked himself, is Jeremiah Love worthy of the number 8 pick, even with Travis Etienne on the roster now? Now, to me, though, I think I saw Bruce Sain mention this, I think the top prospect right now that's very intriguing for the Saints and might really make this defense a lot more interesting are the next two, which is Caleb Downs, safety, or Sonny Styles, who had an incredible pro day this past weekend at the NFL, past 2 weekends ago at the NFL Combine. These right now are my top 2 prospects, given what the Saints have done in the free agency so far. I would love Caleb Downs. I think he's going to be a top 3 safety at his peak. And Sonny Styles, I got to be honest with you, like his pro days would made me go, whoa, this guy has some physical tools that, you put him with someone like a Brandon Staley, he could be a Swiss Army knife on our defense. So watch out for those 2 names, but those might be the 2 names that, we target at the number 8 pick, should one of them fall down to us. But as nice as our offense looks right now, I'm still not fully confident in our wide receiver core behind Chris Olave. So I'm also really hopeful that the New Orleans Saints do something with the wide receiver spot in the first round or the second round of the draft. If it is the first round, then the top prospects are Cornell Tate, Jordan Tyson, or Makai Lemon. I think right now Cornell Tate would probably be my favorite as far as who I would want to draft. But I would not be mad if Jordan Tyson or Makai Lemon is the pick. I will say this. I will trust Kellen Moore much more than my opinion. All right. I'm not strong on Cornell Tate the way I'm like, there's no way we should take Jordan Tyson over Cornell Tate. If Kellen Moore likes Jordan Tyson over Cornell Tate, then take Jordan Tyson. It'll be interesting to see if they do go wide receiver in the first round. But Cornell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and Makai Lemon are the top 3 wide receiver prospects. And I think that we definitely need somebody behind Chris Olave to pick up that slack, because we know that Chris Olave, as hard as he plays, as hard as he tries, has never played a full season. So, it would be nice to have somebody that we can count on to pick up that slack if Chris Olave ever goes down or if he's double teamed or whatnot. And then you got some interesting names like Ruben Bain, who I still think as well for us, we still need some juice on the defensive line, especially if we do get rid of Cam Jones. I love Chase Young, but I feel like we could probably use one more top prospect on that defensive line to really get the opposing quarterback some hell. Francis Muaga, now this may not be the most popular pick, but I do think look, if he falls to us and all these other names are no longer there, I mean, an O-line with Kelvin Banks, David Edwards, Eric McCoy, Fuaga, and Francis Muaga, that might be enough alone to make it to the NFC South division title and play. Like to have that would be a top 3 O-line in my league if we are in a world where Francis Muaga falls to us and the Saints just say, sorry, y'all, we love offensive line in the draft. We're going to take offensive line in the draft. I know it won't be the most popular pick. I know fans will probably be very pissed off, but I'm just saying, think about the offensive line where, instead of Cesar Ruiz, we got Francis Muaga at the other guard spot. I'm sure you guys will be very annoyed in April, but very excited in November when we are winning the games because we are dominating the trenches in, those close games where we can dominate the running game with Travis Etienne and that offensive line. And then you got Mansour Delaney from LSU because given that Alontae Taylor is there no longer with the New Orleans Saints, yes, I think cornerback is a position of need for us. And unfortunately, obviously, we cannot target all of these positions in the first round. So there is going to be one position that falls by the wayside going into the season that we're going to be like, oh, man, that's going to have to be something that we're looking forward to trying to upgrade in 2027. Would that be cornerback? Would that be wide receiver? Would that be the other guard spot? Would that be defensive end? We'll see. But these are the top prospects of the 2026 draft for the New Orleans Saints. And as of March 10th, my top 2 that I have my eye on is Caleb Downs, safety from OSU, or Sonny Styles, linebacker from OSU. Give me y'all early choices for who y'all want to get. And again, this is not a draft show tonight. We'll do a lot of draft preview shows in the upcoming weeks, but just for early on now that we kind of have a better feel for what the New Orleans Saints look like and because we see who we've had in free agency acquisition so far, who do y'all have as y'all favorites for being a New Orleans Saint with that number 8 pick in the 2026 draft in 1 month? Cat Manny says, grab Sonny Styles, draft the kid out of Louisville at wide receiver. He's talking about Chris Bell in the 2nd round, and then grab the cornerback out of Tennessee in the 3rd round. Jeremiah is back on the Cam Jones thing. He says, if Cam Jones is going to retire on our team in 14 years, though, if Taysom Hill is going to retire on our team because the salary cap is going to be a real issue about the players, salary cap is what you want to make of it, Jeremiah. But we'll see. We'll see. There's still a world where Cam Jones stays with the New Orleans Saints. J-Rock says, I think Caleb Downs will be gone by the time the Saints pick 8. But the good thing about this list, J-Rock, is that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names on this list, okay? Let me take a comment down right quick. There are 9 names on this list. This list does not include the number 1 overall pick, which is obviously going to be with the Las Vegas Raiders and the quarterback. This list does not include David Bailey, who's probably going to go in the top 3. And this list does not include Arvell Reese, the linebacker, who's going to go in the top 3 or top 4. So one of these players is going to fall to number 8. So we're going to have our pick of the crop, if you will, at the number 8 pick. So even though Caleb Downs might not be available at number 8, but then guess what? That means that Styles might be available at number 8, or Cornell Tate might be available at number 8, or Ruben Bain might be available at number 8, or Francis Muaga might be available at number 8. Somebody, a really good player, or a really good prospect, I would say, is going to be available at number 8. So I'm excited about what the Saints can possibly do in the draft with that number 8 pick. Keeping it real, sub confirmation one, what a great at name says, if Love is somehow available at number 8, you got to take him. He is the blue chip player. The Keeping It Real podcast. I'm sorry, Keeping It Real. YouTube does that stupid thing now where instead of having your profile name, they have your at handle. I agree. Like, if Love is available at number 8 still, I would take him. He is that good of a prospect. You worry about the positional value and how he fits. You worry about that later. Sean Payne didn't go when Reggie Bush fell to number 2. Yeah, we already got Deuce McAllister. Sean Payne said, shit, give me Reggie Bush. I'll make it work. You make it work. If you are offensive mind like Kellen Moore is, if Jeremiah Love happens to fall to number 8, you make it work. I do not think Jeremiah Love is going to fall to number 8. I think that Tennessee, Arizona, or the Washington Commanders are going to take him. So that kind of made the stain of possibly losing him go away when we signed Travis Etienne. Is that Jeremiah Love is probably, he had too good of a pro day to think that he might fall to number 8. If he does, great for us. We are in a prime position to take him. But I don't think he gets past Washington if he does get past Tennessee and Arizona. Bruce Saint says, Mawai is a tackle. Malone is a guard. That has been making noise. It'll be interesting to see how if Caesar, because look, you want to imagine, right? Bruce Saint that, excuse me, you want to imagine though, like if we do go offensive line, Banks, Fuaga, McCoy, and now Edwards are solidified. So the guard spot, Cesar Ruiz is like the only question mark on if they are sold on Ruiz still being that guy. Now, Mawai, from what I thought he was I could be wrong. This is why I'm a fan, another analyst, Brew, but I thought he was being listed as a guard. Let me do a quick little Google search right quick. Bruce Saint. But I'm pretty sure unless they say that in the pros he's going to be a guard, and I missed that memo, or he is promoting himself as a guard. Francis Muaga. Maybe no. So here's the thing. All right, so I apologize. Now they're saying that he's going to play guard in the NFL, though. That's what I thought. I could be wrong. I could be a dumbass. If I am. My apologies. Y'all don't come to the John Bourne Show for top of the line analysts, but I'm pretty sure I thought like when I was signing up my draft, everybody was like, "Yeah, Francis Muaga is going to move to guard for the team that takes him." So we'll see, because Lord knows the Saints are very notorious for taking a player that plays tackle and say, "Oh, come on, play guard," or taking a player that plays guard and say, "Come on and play tackle." So maybe if we do take Muaga, he plays tackle, and we move Fuaga back to guard. That would be an interesting dilemma. But thanks for that heads up, Bruce Saint. So now I can actually look at that more in depth in the coming weeks as I start to look more into the draft and see if the Saints do go offensive line. You know, if we take Francis Muaga, do we keep him at offensive tackle, or do we move him to guard, or do we keep him at tackle and say, you know what, Fuaga, you come back to guard? You know, I saw some people saying move Eric McCoy to guard because it's less wear and tear on his body, and they fear that McCoy is getting injury prone. That would be interesting. I don't think McCoy would be down for that. I think you should give McCoy at least one more year at center. And if he gets injured again this year, then you can start having a conversation of, do we want to move him to another position? But the Saints are notorious for, doing musical chairs when it comes to position, titles when it comes to the offensive line. So very interesting, Bruce. I'm glad you brought up that point. I'm going to look more into it now as I do my draft analysis. Let me get to some more comments, and then we will wrap up the show. Bruce Saint says just listed as a tackle because that's what he was in college. I got you, Bruce Saint. I think it just depends on, I guess, which team drafts him, which position they see him playing in college. Jelly Bear, I know you ain't tired, huh? Like, come on now. Like, dude, your quarterback is Tua Tagovailoa. You might want to just, go to sleep and kind of cry the pain away instead of worrying about the New Orleans Saints. A Hammer says, you are forgetting about David Bailey and Orville Reese. Yeah, I know. I just mentioned that, A Hammer. Those two are going to push some of these players down to number 8. So the question is, which player do they push down to number 8? Is it going to be Caleb Downs? Is it going to be, unless he's talking to somebody else in the chat? If he is, I apologize. But is it going to be Caleb Downs who falls to 8? Is it going to be Sonny Styles who falls to 8? Somebody's falling to 8, and that's going to be the benefit of the New Orleans Saints. Here's a question I'll let y'all marinate on, and we can talk about this on our next episode when we get more into the draft. If, let's say Downs is away, let's say Love is gone, let's say Styles is gone, and let's say Cornell Tate is gone by the time the Saints draft at number 8. Say a team calls you and says, hey, Saints, we'll give you, let's say a playoff team says, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. They say the Bills trying to go for a splash. Hey, Saints, we'll give y'all our number, what would it be, the number 26 or number 27 pick, and our 2027 first round if y'all let us move up to number 8. Would y'all do that? Like if y'all favorite prospects are gone at number 8 and a team calls later in the draft and says, hey, if y'all are willing to move back in the draft and take our 2027 first round pick, we'll give it to y'all if y'all let us move up to number 8. Would y'all entertain that? Let me know in the chat right now, and also think about that overall the next few weeks, and then we'll talk about it on our draft preview show. But it's something that I would have to think about. Fish reminds me of, look at your name. It's because you left the super chat. You leave a $5 super chat, you get your name on the This Shit More Than the scoreboard. But start thinking about that scenario, y'all. Like if a team calls and says, yo, Saints, like Cat Manning says, yeah, he says he will be willing if some of the top prospects leave are gone by the time we draft to move back in the draft in order to garner another draft pick in the first round of 2027. I will entertain it, but it depends on who is not available. Like if Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles and Jeremiah Love are all gone by the time we get to number 8, I would say, let me open up my phone lines and see if any of these teams behind us want to move on up and give us that 2027 first round pick. Because that 2027 draft class, I know we said this about every draft class, but that 2027 draft class is loaded, as Cat Manny says. So like if you have 2 draft picks in 2027, you really might be kicking with some fish grease. And speaking of super chats, Fishes here reminds me of her. He leaves a $2 super chat and he says, the fish is here. And again, Fish reminds me of her. Just keep looking at this shit more than the scoreboard, because anybody who leaves a $5 or higher super chat like you left on the last John Bones show makes the official this shit more than the scoreboard. And that's my way of thanking you guys for helping support this show and being loyal subscribers to the John Bones channel. You see Bruce Saint, you see my girl Sandra and Sonia, and then look after that Fish. The fish reminds me of her. If y'all want to make this shit more than the scoreboard like Bruce Saint and Fish reminds me of her and Sandra do, all you gotta do is leave a super chat and you can make the official this shit more than a scoreboard. But I appreciate you all for joining the late night edition of the John Bones show. Man, it looks so exciting. It is so exciting to see the Saints make some moves and feel this, authentic optimism going into 2026 that the New Orleans Saints might actually be a playoff team. Before we go, I will say this. My phone lines are not open, but God bless his soul. Jerry found the way to get through it. He wanted to leave a voicemail. So I said, well, I ain't going to let Jerry leave a voicemail and not play it. Even though the phone lines are not open, Jerry, the voicemail line was not open. I did not advertise the voicemail line being open. But Jerry, because I love you and because you've been one of the people who've been with the John Bones show for day one, I will play this voicemail from Jerry because he had a lot to say after the 2026 free agency start for the New Orleans Saints.
Yo, Jono, this is Jerry G. What's up, man? Hope you and your family are doing pretty good during this off season. Hope all is well. I'm just calling to let you know that I like the signings the Saints did on Monday, the Edwards signing, the Etchemy signing, and the Fant signing. Sad we lost Demario Davis to the Jets and Alontae Taylor to the Titans, but that's all right. We're going to be all right. But I just wanted to give you my feedback on that. But there's another thing I wanted to share with you. It was this guy telling a joke about 2 things to worry about. And I looked at it and I enjoyed it, and I want to give you my version of 2 things to worry about. Whether you're a Saints fan or a Falcons fan. If you're a Saints fan, you got nothing to worry about. But if you're a Falcons fan, you got 2 things to worry about. I just wanted to share that funny with you. I think it was funny because I wanted to address that. But you have yourself a good one. Hopefully we'll make some more moves in free agency. And we closing, as always, this shit more than a game. Who that?
Oh, we did, Jerry, because after that call, Jerry, the Saints signed Caden Ellis. Bruce saying, the voicemail line was not open, but Jerry says, well, there's a will, there's a way. I appreciate that. I'll let y'all know on my YouTube community page. I'll let y'all know when I do open up the phone lines officially again, probably for the draft preview show, which we'll do next month I want to hear you guys talk about the draft. By then, we're going to know about Cam Jordan. We're going to know about Olave's contract likely, I would imagine, I hope is going to be signed by then. I mean, y'all saw how much these wide receivers are getting in free agency. Like, y'all saw how much Alec Pierce. I'm going to be honest, dog. I didn't know nothing about Alec Pierce until January when people started saying, Alec Pierce is going to command a lot of money. I'm like, Alec Pierce? Like, did he even make the Pro Bowl? Like, who's Alec Pierce? Alec Pierce got a ton of money. So can y'all imagine what Chris Olave is going to get? Oh, there will be a video about that when his contract does come. But shout out to Chris Olave, man. He played the long game, and now he's going to get paid the long way. There's a lot to still happen in Who Dat Nation, and of course the draft. And it's going to be very exciting with us with the number 8 pick to hopefully land what could be possibly a change maker on offense or a change maker on defense with the number 8 pick. I can't wait to see it. I am so excited about the New Orleans Saints. I hope that Tyler Shough is on his game next season because obviously all of our fate is lying in him. But if he is anything like we all think that he can be, it is going to be fun in Who Dat Nation, and it is going to be fun on the John Bones show. Not only this upcoming season, but this off season. I appreciate all of you guys who joined me live on this late night edition of the John Bones show. Man. What a start to free agency it has been, huh? Shout out to Mickey Loomis, man. We gave Mickey Loomis a lot of shit. These past few years. Mickey Loomis is cooking again. Sometimes God has to help him. Sometimes the football guys have to help him. They had to get him away from Dennis Allen and get Kellen Moore to help him come in and finally get his shit together. But hey, The world works in mysterious ways. You don't question it. You just take it. That's what my dad used to always say. Married in on that for a little bit. I appreciate y'all. We will be back on the John Bone Show. I don't know about next week, but we'll be back on the show. You know, we're not going to take another month off, you know, because the draft is coming up very soon. And we definitely want to talk about who we want to draft and what the Saints draft position looks like and all that good stuff. But I appreciate every single one of you guys. Know this. We can all go to bed tonight. You know, maybe the Travis Etienne signing, ends up not working out. Maybe the David Edwards signing doesn't work out. Maybe the Noah Fant signing doesn't work out. Maybe the Caden Ellis signing doesn't work. Hell, maybe the Ryan Wright signing doesn't work out. But we can all go to bed knowing that Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix are not our starting quarterbacks. Ladies and gentlemen, this shit more than the game.
Juno. Juno.